What's up, Vegas? We got the dub heading back. See y'all on Tuesday. The Las Vegas Aces have been one of the most dominant teams in the WNBA, but behind the scenes things might not be as perfect as they seem. Sydney Colson, a key locker room presence and a fan favorite, recently opened up about why she really left the team, and let's just say it didn't sit well with A'ja Wilson. Fans assumed Colson's departure was just part of routine roster moves, but after her latest comments, it's clear that something else was going on behind closed doors. So what did she reveal, and why did Wilson react so strongly? Stick around because this is huge. So Sydney Colson is obviously a player for the Indiana Fever. Someone signed to be Caitlin Clark's backup, and she is a Sydney Colson's departure from the Las Vegas Aces was supposed to be another offseason move. Teams adjust their rosters all the time, shifting pieces around, making trades, and letting go of players as they build toward a new season. But when Colson recently spoke about why she really left, it set off a chain reaction that no one saw coming. A'ja Wilson, the face of the Aces, didn't just brush it off. She reacted in a way that made it clear she wasn't happy. Fans started speculating almost immediately. Why would Wilson, a player known for her leadership and composure, be this frustrated over Colson's comments? What exactly did Colson say that struck such a nerve? According to some people, I can't remember where I read it, but they believe that Sydney Colson is actually coming in to start at the point guard. For those who don't know, Sydney Colson wasn't just some random bench player. Sure, she wasn't a star on the court, but she played a huge role in the locker room. She was a leader, a veteran, and someone who kept the team's chemistry strong. Every great team needs a player like Colson, someone who may not always light up the scoreboard but knows how to hold a team together. When she left, most people assumed it was just part of the business. The Aces had bigger names to focus on: A'ja Wilson, Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, and Jackie Young. They were still the powerhouse of the WNBA, and Colson's departure wasn't supposed to be a big deal. But then Colson broke her silence. In a recent interview, she dropped some cryptic yet revealing statements about her time with the Aces. She hinted that her exit wasn't just about basketball, it was about something deeper. She spoke about internal frustrations, team dynamics, and feeling like she wasn't truly valued. She didn't call anyone out directly, but the way she spoke had people reading between the lines. The moment those comments hit social media, fans went crazy. The speculation started immediately. Was Colson forced out? Did she have issues with the coaching staff? Did she feel disrespected by certain teammates? And then came the biggest question of all: was there tension between Colson and A'ja Wilson? That's where things really took a turn. Wilson is known for being a strong leader. She's built her reputation on being the type of player who stands up for her teammates, defends her squad, and keeps things in-house. But the way she reacted to Colson's comments made it clear she wasn't okay with how this was playing out. She went to social media almost immediately. She didn't mention Colson by name, but her posts were loaded with meaning. She talked about how real teams keep things in the family. She mentioned how winning comes with sacrifices. She even made a comment that sounded like a direct call-out, saying that some people just don't understand what it takes. That was enough to set off a firestorm of theories. If Colson's departure was just business, why would Wilson feel the need to respond so strongly? If there was no real drama, why not just wish her former teammate well and move on? This wasn't just frustration, this was personal. And now the big question is, what exactly happened behind closed doors? One theory that started gaining traction was that Colson felt sidelined in the locker room. The Aces have always had a strong core group of stars, but over time, power dynamics start to shift. Some players naturally become the voices of the team while others fade into the background. Could it be that Colson felt pushed out? Did she feel like her leadership wasn't being valued anymore? Or did she challenge the team culture in a way that didn't sit well with Wilson and the others? It's no secret that the Aces have been under scrutiny before. Just look at what happened with Dereka Hamby. She was another player who was seen as a core piece of the team, but was suddenly moved when she left. She called out the Aces for mistreating her, saying that they weren't supportive when she was pregnant, and pushed her out unfairly. That situation exposed a side of the Aces that fans hadn't seen before. It showed that even championship teams aren't always perfect behind the scenes, and now with Colson's comments, people are starting to wonder, is there something deeper going on within the Aces organization? Wilson's reaction only adds to the speculation, because if Colson's comments weren't true, why react at all? Why not just ignore it and move on? Wilson is a competitor, but she's also someone who doesn't like when things get messy. She wants to win, and she doesn't want any distractions getting in the way. Could it be that she sees Colson's comments as a threat to the team's focus? Or is it more than that? Is there a part of her that knows Colson is telling the truth, but she just doesn't want that truth out in the open? One thing is clear, this story isn't going away anytime soon. Colson's words have already. If you like the video, then like the video and subscribe to the channel. sparked conversations, and Wilson's reaction has only made things worse. Now the media, the fans, and even former players are watching closely to see what happens next. Will Colson come forward with even more details? Will Wilson address this head-on? Or will more former Aces players step up and start speaking their truth? Because if there's one thing we've learned from the WNBA over the last few years, it's that players aren't afraid to call out injustice anymore, and if Colson was just the first, then this could be the beginning of a much bigger controversy surrounding the Las Vegas Aces. Sydney Colson's shocking revelation about her exit from the Las Vegas Aces has sent shockwaves through the WNBA, but Wilson's reaction that took things to another level, what should have been a routine off-season roster change, has turned into one of the biggest controversies of the year. Colson didn't name names, but she didn't have to. The way she spoke about her departure, the frustrations, the lack of support, the feeling of not being valued, all of it pointed toward internal dysfunction within the Aces organization, and Wilson's immediate furious response that only confirmed what fans were starting to suspect. Colson hit a nerve. So, what really went down behind the scenes, and more importantly, is this just the beginning of an even bigger scandal brewing in Las Vegas? Let's break it down. Wilson's reaction, a sign of guilt. Wilson is no stranger to controlling the narrative. She's the face of the Las Vegas Aces, a back-to-back champion, and one of the most influential players in the league. When she speaks, people listen, but her reaction to Colson's comments wasn't the cool, composed response you'd expect from a leader. It was emotional, defensive, aggressive. She didn't just brush it off, she went out of her way to address it. Winning isn't for everybody, she tweeted, which was clearly a direct shot at Colson. But wait, Colson never said anything about not wanting to win. She never implied that she couldn't handle the pressure, so why did Wilson take it there? Because when people get defensive, it usually means there's something they don't want exposed. Instead of saying, "We love Sydney and we'll miss her," or "even this is just business," Wilson turned it into an attack, and that raises serious questions. If there really was nothing going on behind the scenes, why would Wilson feel the need to shut down the conversation so aggressively? Because Wilson isn't just responding to Colson, she's trying to shut her up, and that's where things get even more interesting. Power struggles and locker room tension. The Aces have been a dominant force in the WNBA. But success doesn't always mean harmony. In fact, history has shown that super teams often have the most locker room drama. Think about it. When you have multiple big personalities, superstars, and egos on one team, power struggles are inevitable, and the Aces, they've been showing signs of tension for a while now. Let's not forget the Dereka Hamby situation. Hamby was a fan favorite, a core part of the Aces championship run, and someone who had built strong relationships with her teammates. But what happened when she got pregnant? The Aces pushed her out. Not only did they trade her, but she later revealed that the organization mistreated her while she was pregnant, making it clear that they didn't see her as part of their long-term plans anymore. The WNBA even launched an investigation into the Aces' treatment of players. So now, with Colson hinting at deeper issues, fans can't help but wonder, is this just another example of how the Aces really operate behind closed doors? Because this pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. The question of favoritism. One of the biggest theories floating around is that Colson's frustration came from a feeling of favoritism within the team, and honestly, it wouldn't be surprising. The Aces are built around a clear core of players: Wilson, Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, and Jackie Young. And while that makes sense from a basketball standpoint, it's easy to see how other players might feel like their voices don't matter as much. Could Colson have felt like certain players got special treatment? Did she feel like there was an inner circle within the team that she wasn't a part of? Because let's be real, we've seen this dynamic before in other super teams. Think about the NBA's Golden State Warriors during the height of their dynasty. Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson were untouchable, but other role players, they were seen as replaceable no matter how important they were to the team's chemistry. Could the same thing be happening in Las Vegas? Could Colson have spoken up about it only to find herself on the outside looking in? Wilson's reaction suggests she didn't like what Colson had to say, and when you combine that with the way Hamby was treated, it's clear that there's more to this story than what's being said publicly. Is more drama coming? Here's the thing. Colson didn't outright attack anyone. She hinted at problems, but she didn't go into full detail. So what happens if she decides to say more? What if she comes out and names names? What if she reveals exactly why she felt pushed out? Because right now Wilson and the Aces are trying to control the situation. They want to shut down the rumors before they grow too big. But the more Wilson lashes out, the more people start to wonder, is she hiding something? And let's not forget, Colson isn't the only player who's left the Aces on bad terms. Could other former players start speaking out? Because if multiple players come forward and say the same thing, then this turns from a small controversy into a full-blown scandal. The future of the Aces dynasty. Right now, the Aces are still on top of the WNBA. They're back-to-back champions, and they have one of the most stacked rosters in the league. But as we've seen in the past, dynasties can fall apart quickly when drama gets in the way. The Los Angeles Sparks went from a dominant force to a struggling team after locker room issues destroyed their chemistry. The Houston Comets, one of the greatest teams in WNBA history, collapsed after internal conflict took over. Could the Aces be next if more details come out? If more players confirm what Colson hinted at, it could create a toxic environment that affects their performance on the court. And let's be real, when you're trying to win championships, the last thing you need is locker room tension dragging the team down. Wilson might think she's shutting down the noise by firing back at Colson, but in reality, she's making it worse. Her reaction has only made people more curious, more suspicious, and more willing to dig deeper into what's really going on. And if she keeps going down this path, she might just expose more than she's trying to hide. Where does this go from here? The big question now is, will Colson say more? Because right now she's still holding back. She could have easily dropped names. She could have aired out specific details about what really happened, but she didn't. That means she's either protecting someone or she's waiting for the right moment to speak out fully. And if she does, then the Aces might be in serious trouble, because right now they're trying to keep the focus on winning another championship. But if this drama continues to grow, it could tear them apart from the inside. And if there's one thing we know about players who feel disrespected, they don't stay quiet forever. Sydney Colson has already shaken the WNBA world with her comments. Now it's just a matter of time before we find out the whole truth. Sydney Colson's comments have completely shaken up the WNBA world. What was once seen as just another off-season move has turned into one of the biggest controversies in the league. And Wilson's reaction, it only adds to the mystery. So what do you think really happened? Was Colson's exit just business, or is there real tension behind the scenes in Las Vegas? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on this growing drama. This story is far from over. Thanks for watching, and subscribe my channel.